Well,
Is there any story you have to tell about your couple? You
well,
being a couple?
I can tell you how I proposed to Una.
Oh, yeah. That would be fun.
Everybody
I
listening?
said to Una, "Do you think you would like another husband?" And she said,
did not.
"Yes."
I can pick one out of there, or there, or there.
And she says you did not. So what's your version of the story? What did he say?
It's a little bit close to the truth, not quite.
What did he say? What do
did
you
he say?
remember?
Let me think.
Actually, I said, we both have been married 55 years. In other words, we've lived most of our lives being married, so we better do something about it.
Very romantic.
So we
So romantic.
We have 126 years of married life.
So when you asked her to marry you, you didn't ask her to amalgamate with you? That
That's
was
what
what
I
you saved for all of us.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all got to hear that you amalgamated. But you didn't say that, did he say that to you?
He said something like that.
I'm pretty sure that's what our daughters told her. Our daughters told us we'd better amalgamate.
No.
None of your daughters or your son, none of us
The
knew.
daughters,
Surprise you guys. How could you
the
say
daughters had had a few
Came
months
from
of
a
trying to
party
look
at
out
my
for us.
The day before, no
So they
mention of Una.
felt
No
we should-
mention.
Next day he phones
Why,
and he
why
said,
should, the daughters said,
Una has agreed
why
to
should
an
we spend our time
amalgamation.
looking after you?
Yeah, we
Just
got that.
look after one another. So,
But that's funny that his attribution is the other way around. I like that.
I'd been in Calgary and I came and I was shopping in the Save-On just after I got home.
Yeah.
Bumped into a lady from the church. Oh, she said, did you know David Cline is getting married?
It's amazing, really, isn't it, that he kept it so quiet?
I nearly
Nobody
passed right
knew.
out.
Well, I didn't say to him, but I thought the parents never would let you marry somebody without them at least having met them. And I had met Una, I knew Una, but I don't think Karen and John had met Una. There are some people in the family who really didn't know Una.
I think that's okay.
The first time I met her, David brought her to the church to a pancake breakfast. And I had never met her. And he came to me and he said, this is my neighbor lady, Una. Could I bring her over and could we sit with you and eat the pancakes? And I said, absolutely. And so I saw some twinkling going on a little bit
You
there
thought
over
maybe
the
something, huh?
pancakes.
Yeah.
well, one of my lady friends said to me, well, after Vera had spent 55 years training you, we shouldn't let that all go to waste.
So you were doing a favor. Oh, very good. She had them all lined up, bless her.
There were a few women who would have married him
I'm
if
sure.
Una hadn't.
Of course, they were just waiting in line.
well, and Vera kept saying to us as she was dying, and knew she was dying, you must make sure that your father remarries. He can't be on his own.
I know, that was amazing she did that.
Oh yeah, and she had a whole list. And then she said to me several times, you know, Una is really nice, but she's got a dare. So, but Una would be really good for your dad.
Well, actually, I found out how much money Una had.
Oh, yeah.
Why would I have a wealthy widow living across the hallway from me? So,
out how much.
I'm sure she told you all about how much money she had.
no, it was
He'd get a
John.
shock, I'm
It was
afraid.
John who found out how much.
He said, and what were you doing today? And she said, counting my money.
John spent hours and hours adding it all up. And he
A lot of
said,
energy.
"Look at here. Look at how much."
You tried to line me up with an old man at the church because you told me he had lots of money.
Yeah, I can imagine. There you are.
Stem Bridge or something. Do you know who I mean?
I'm sure that's not true.
Oh, it is true. And he phoned me a couple of times.
Oh, all David's fault.
And you didn't?
And then he went to the hospital, and the lady minister, Diane,
Yeah.
went to visit him, and he asked for my phone number, and she wouldn't give it to him.
Oh.
So I never,
Thank
he's long gone.
So
But
Sharon, how long have you guys been married?
12 years.
12
years in April,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you chose wisely. We always thought Uncle Steve was just the best. All of us teenage, and the nieces, we all thought Uncle Steve was just so handsome and so wonderful. And
He can play the ukulele.
Well,
and he used to sing when the roll is called up yonder when he was milking. I remember that first thing in the morning, he'd be singing. So loud that we could hear him in the house. And he was out in the barn.
And the cows didn't mind at all.
I didn't
No.
choose him at all.
No, they didn't.
David chose him.
Yeah, well, he chose for you. Yeah, and that's a good call.
I have to tell you, I have to tell you how we,
David does good things.
how we made this match. We were, there was a program at the church, and we went over and we went up to the balcony. Usually we don't go up there, but anyway, John came over, and John came up, and then for some reason or other, this one came up. So of course, naturally we introduced him, and John said to me afterwards, he said, all the single old ladies at my church, none of them are beautiful, but that one.
Well, yeah.
No, he is the one who said it.
That was
Is
true.
Steve the one who said,
Yes,
were you the one who
Steve.
said that?
Yes.
Ah, that was Steve.
Yes. No, it
yeah.
wasn't John. It
No,
was
it
Steve.
wasn't John.
No, it wasn't John, it was Steve.
Well, it's true. She was a young widow.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You were young.
Young,
Yeah.
beautiful young widow.
Yeah,
Oh,
really. And very stylish and very wonderful in every way.
And
Thank
she
you
was just
kindly, yeah.
trying to brush them off by the million as they kicked by. Oh, yeah.
Somebody's phone.
It's the best.
Oh,
Yeah, that was quite a night. Oh, David. And the next morning, I was talking to Thelma Brown, and I saw him, and I thought, oh, I think that's David's brother. And then,
Yeah, well, they do have a familiar,
because I'd only seen him
familial
once.
look, yes.
And so then I went and sat in my little pew, and he came to the end
I thought we would.
and
need
said,
to
could I come and sit with you? Are you waiting for anybody? He came and
Ah.
sat with me.
He was just there for the weekend sort of thing,
Yeah.
didn't really know anybody,
Yeah.
very fortunately.
Very wonderful.
I thought he was out. Weren't you out, Uncle Steve?
And of course,
How
the story
Fran moved
the
back
story
to
of our
Alberta.
mother,
Yes.
how our mother finally got married. She was going to Nutana College, and the four sisters were there. And so the four sisters, of course, got their eye on mother, and they had the four single brothers at the home. And so, of course, they arranged to take mother home for Christmas. And so she looked over the four brothers, and she got her eye on Charlie. Charlie was the one she decided she wanted.
That's cute. That's cute.
So
My-
the other three were left still single.
They might have been interested, but they weren't given the
No
opportunity.
chance.
Well, Grandma, our grandmother, she had the habit of bringing a hired, they called them a hired girl in those days.
Yeah, they
She
did.
had the habit of bringing in a hired girl to see if we couldn't get these fellows married off. So Uncle Harvey got Aunt Nancy. She was a Joseph, Nancy Joseph. So
was she a hired girl?
Yes.
then Mother, of course, picked off Charlie, and then but Walter was hopeless.
Oh, Walter.
Wa-
Not
Waddy-
quite so
Waddy-
charming, actually.
Waddy was a mistake.
Yeah.
Poor Waddy never did get a hired girl. But
Yeah.
they got grandmother got
Fred.
I can't remember her names anymore.
Fred got Beatrice.
Yes, got Beatrice, and
He's got his sister in
she must have been 15 years younger.
Oh, at
I guess.
least,
But anyway,
at least.
grandmother got Beatrice up.
Wow.
to be the hired girl. So
And then they
Fred,
got married and had
Fred
3
got
boys,
his
so-
wife.
Yeah.
Did Fred live on the homestead? Did Fred live on the homestead?
Or he had his
Well,
own.
yeah,
it's
he
just
took over
something-
the,
Something I never understood.
The old gent's farm,
I
right?
never understood how it was that grandmother Cline, she got 160 acres as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so it was a question of that 160 acres.
Yeah.
I never understood that. How it was that the wife of the homesteader,
I never heard that
got-
before either.
And in the case of mother and her sister, they got a homestead between the two of them.
Oh, did they?
Mother and Aunt May,
Oh,
and of
Really?
course.
In Alberta.
Oh, in Alberta.
And of course, the brothers never agreed with one another. So Walter finally got his revenge on Fred because when grandmother died, she left her 160 acres to Waddy.
Oh, good. Poor Waddy.
So Walter got the 160 acres.
So what did he do
So
with
of
it?
course Fred had farmed it all these years
Oh,
and had looked after it.
oh dear.
So I never understood how father got mixed up in it, but somehow or other father got mixed up in it. So what happened was that they arranged for the 160 acres to be sold to the what was his name? I've forgotten his name
Ozzie.
now.
Ozzie Warren.
Ozzie Warren. That was it.
Uncle Steve's
So
got it.
father never actually told me this, but I think father must have lent the money to Ozzie Warren
Oh,
to buy the 160 acres from Walter,
oh.
and so then
So
Ozzie
Walter
Warren
could have the money.
sold it to Uncle Fred, double the price.
Wow.
but then your dad got his money back.
So Walter got his revenge on Fred.
Oh, yeah. Did he ever? Wow.
But Waddy, as Uncle Harvey told me, Uncle Harvey lying in the hospital, and Uncle Harvey suddenly observed, said, "Well, of course, Waddy is a mistake."
We heard that frequently.
That's terrible.
And
Well,
when my children and
Well, he
grandchildren
must
would
have.
be missing.
Grandmother must have been at least 45. when Waddy
Uh-huh,
died.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
Waddy was a
46.
mistake.
Well, and Eddie too. I mean, these women they just kept having babies. Wasn't Eddie 40?
45.
Grandma was
40,
45.
45 when she had Eddie.
And Grandma Klein
Yeah.
was 45 when she had
This is the Morgan
Stephen,
side.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
her
it's
largest,
perfectly normal.
Or
her
46.
largest child.
Yeah, I was surprised when she thought he didn't live anymore, they would have been elephants.
10 something.
And Uncle Steve was 10 something?
Yeah,
gosh.
10-4, I think you were.
No, I was
10-6.
12.
Heavens, you big baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's even
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We weren't that much together, were we? No. Oh, yeah.
The
Little twins.
two of you, yeah.
About 8 or 9 pounds
course,
together.
In our family, father insisted on farming with horses. He loved horses. So mother rewarded him with 8 sons.
Yeah,
So we each took our turn.
yeah, that's wonderful.
The next one said, I was the third in line,
Yeah.
so I could hardly wait to turn 18 so I could get away from the miserable horses. I didn't want to drive horses. I
Well,
wanted
those
to fly.
horses, they were the big ones, you know?
Clydesdales or something.
If you
Were
had
they Clydes? They were Clydes.
Yeah, and if
right?
you step
Yeah.
on your
Well,
feet
the
for getting
Saskatoon
out.
Fair in those days, the Saskatoon Fair was
Ask
the last
Rick
2
where he
weeks
put
of July, and my birthday, of course,
How did this get
we
played?
went to the Saskatoon Fair.
The
And I was
knives,
there
the
on my
knives that you
birthday, so I
use.
immediately rushed over
Where
and
did you
enlisted.
use them?
That way I got away from the horses.
Pull them out or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Open the cage?
Using your head.
Yeah.
My mom and dad met at the